Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we exchange information of all kinds, good stuff from our city, state, and country. We share news and headlines and whatever we can find that can help us connect with each other as a community of English-speaking locals. We take into account your wonderful comments and suggestions and everything we can to have a wonderful time and inspiration. So, a wonderful time and inspiration, sure, why not? Today is Tuesday, October 24th. I'm still getting used to being back in my own bed. That sounds strange, but my body seems to have realized, oh, you're back home. Okay, so I'm going to sleep a lot so that you can catch up after all the walking that you did over the weekend. Or maybe that's just me. What I'm trying to say is I slept late. But it's nice that we have video stuff to show, and most of the news that I looked at can wait until tomorrow. Today, we are going to have a couple of news items, and then we're going to walk together along downtown Tlaquepaque so that I can give you a little taste of what we encountered this past weekend. But first, as always, I want to welcome everyone and anyone that is joining us live, particularly those of you that are doing so for the first time. If that is your case, feel free to let us know by writing the word new in your comment, and we'll give you a nice little welcome. If there's something really important that you wish to share with everyone, it helps a great deal if you add a capital letter Q at the beginning of your message. Are we ready? Let's go. And we start with news about the giant Catrina. Where did my notes go? Here they are. She's back. She's back. Assembly of the giant Malecón Catrina has begun, kicking off preparations for the Day of the Dead celebrations that will commence this coming weekend. According to the Municipal Tourism Office, installation of altars will begin today, and by Friday, the Malecón will serve as backdrop for some 40 Catrinas, large Catrinas, and 38 altars around the City Hall. The so-called largest Catrina in the world will be inaugurated on November 1st. And what do you know? Yesterday, I could have sworn that Windy showed me the path of hurricane or tropical storm Otis going north towards Baja California and so forth, and it was... I must have seen wrong, or maybe it changed his mind. Halfway through yesterday's broadcast, somebody said that it was headed for Guerrero, and it is indeed headed for Guerrero. I was wrong. Apologies. The storm is still a tropical storm, but everything seems to indicate that it may develop into a Category 1 hurricane by the time it hits the coast of Guerrero sometime between Thursday and Friday. Guerrero is not far south from the state of Jalisco, so I suspect heavy rain will follow in our direction. but we'll have to wait and see for a couple of days just to see what happens with the storm. Meanwhile, let me turn our weather forecast on to find out what we can expect here in town. And we've read that before. That cloud looks like David Hasselhoff eating a cheeseburger. It's possible that our faithful, snarky weatherman is running out of ideas, but it's not running out of forecasts. It is 28 degrees right now, feels like 29. Humidity is lower, 58%. How about that? And our temperature right now in Fahrenheit degrees is 83. The weather forecast says humid with partly cloudy skies throughout the day, a chance of rain of 7%, a high of 31, and a low, a low of 22. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we can expect a humid day with partly cloudy skies, a high of 31 and a low of 22. And on Thursday, humid with mostly clear skies throughout the day, a chance of rain of 15%. The reason I didn't mention rain in the other 2 days is because the chance of rain is lower than 15, and a high of 31 and a low of 22. And that brings us to the piece de resistance for today. But before we go there, let me set the stage. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, Guadalajara, or more specifically, the municipality of Zapopan, held its annual Romeria. And the Romeria is a traditional Catholic celebration that goes back all the way to the 1700s. And it is an annual procession of bringing the Virgin to the church in Zapopan. And it is huge. It is one of those massive events that I didn't mention simply because it is crazy. I mean, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people go and pay respects to the Virgin in Zapopan. And I figured, well, you probably didn't want to be in the mob scene, so I didn't even mention it. We have a new person. What do you know? I'll say hello to Jose right now, just because I happen to see it. New follower, moving to Vallarta in the next few years to El Cerro. Do you always do your lectures on music in the same place? Yes, I do. Always at the Joint Co-working Hotel, because it is fun and it is perfect for what we try to do. Anyhow, back to the story. I shall not get distracted again, but welcome, Jose. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. Anyhow, the Romeria was 2 weeks ago. And what we didn't know is that 2 weeks later, the party moves over to Tlaquepaque with hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of folkloric dancers that also come to the church to pay tribute to the Virgin. Now, it is Sunday early in the morning. We had done our reconnaissance. We arrived on Friday afternoon. Then we walked around on Saturday. And what I decided to share with you primarily is a walk along the Miguel Hidalgo pathway. Now, Miguel Hidalgo Street in downtown Zapopan is the place where you want to go if you are only going to spend a few hours in Tlaquepaque. For example, if you're visiting Guadalajara and so forth and so on, and you choose to spend an afternoon or a morning in Tlaquepaque, your one stop has to be Miguel Hidalgo Street. Why is that? Well, because it's several blocks that are close to vehicular traffic, and it is full of shops with artisanal goods and fancy art stuff and art galleries and eateries, and what do you know, and that's the place to be. So that should be anyone's first stop in Tlaquepaque. And of course, El Parian is right there. El Parian is that 1 block large series of restaurants, and it has a courtyard in the middle. And that's where you get to eat wonderful food and see dancers and mariachi and so forth. So it is Sunday morning, and we're thinking, well, it's a little early, but that's okay. It won't be too crowded. Some of the stores will have opened, and Coffee and Headlines will have an opportunity to see a little bit of what we can expect. So as I was setting up my gear, we heard the sound of drumming from far away, and I figured, well, that must be just one group of drummers. But boy, were we surprised. Let's take a look. We hadn't done that in a while.
Okay, I'm good to go.
So this is the beginning of the passageway, and it is several blocks long. We figured we would take it from one end to the other. What a lovely orange oxo, says Mihal. Uy, what am I doing there? Let's go up here. There's Telas Parisina on the right. Oh, and right next to Telas Parisina, we found an Optima. That is that shop where I love to find inexpensive t-shirts and whatnot. This is the raw video. I haven't edited it in any way. This is just, I want you to live it the way we experienced it. Okay, that yellow building coming up on the left-hand side, that is El Parian. It's an entire block of restaurants, and inside is a beautiful courtyard. A meal at El Parian is a must if you've never been to Tlaquepaque. And there they are. We figured, okay, a group of dancers, that's lovely. Everything else will be peaceful and quiet and without incident. Sherry says, love the dancer. You haven't seen nothing yet, girl. This black structure here that you see, there's several of those. These are just like vendors that haven't opened their booths yet. Again, it was early in the morning. And this is where we realized, oh shit, there's a lot more of this going on. There's a lot of public sculptures here, as you can see from that one. There's many more. The main plaza is to the right, and we wanted to go forward, and I figured, okay, so what are we going to do? This is clearly something unexpected. So we took a little detour around the main park. And we're asking ourselves, okay, so which way can we walk so that we will not interfere with the celebrations? Oh, I'm gonna go get something from my bedroom that I want to show you. Hold on, I'll be right back. So we were asking ourselves, my goodness, is this something that happens every weekend or what? We thought it was totally crazy. But we later on found out what I told you, that it only happens once a year for 2 consecutive weekends. So we were completely fortunate. At this point, I had told my friend Lars, I want to do this without talking. I don't want to hear my voice on the video. But we kept looking at each other without saying anything to one another. It's like, oh my God, what have we gotten ourselves into? The energy was just crazy. And what do you know, Brian? We had pants to wear, but we never stopped wearing shorts through the whole trip. We were like, fuck this. We want to be comfortable, and we never put our pants on. Always shorts. So we walked through one of the sides of the park. There is one of the 2 churches in downtown Tlaquepaque. And here we decided to venture through the park. I figured we might as well try to get to the other side. And this is all groups of dancers from different regions of Jalisco that again do their pilgrimage here every year to pay tribute to the Virgin. And some of them are wearing some very unique footwear that had nuts and screws in the bottom so that it could make this very loud clanking sound. So here we are back on the walkway. This is a little sculpture by Rodo Padilla, right in front of his art gallery. People sit on it and take photographs. And as you can see, many of the shops are not open yet. I don't know if it's because they expected this to happen or maybe it was a little early. A beautiful place to just walk around and people watch and shop for trinkets. And we kept hearing more drumming ahead, so we knew it was not over. Just a gorgeous place to be walking and exploring. Den, I heard that you're back in town. I hope to carve some time to come and visit with you guys. I hope you found everything okay at home. And we're like, okay, which way are we going to go to get to the other side? I was so tempted to walk right through them. So look what we had to do, just sneak behind this tree. Oh, Larcito, you are absolutely right. I've been calling it Miguel Hidalgo and it is called Independencia. You are completely right. My bad. How are you, papi? My bad, my bad. This is Independencia Street, not Miguel Hidalgo. And of course, we're approaching the Bustamante block. Oh, Albert, you have no idea. I mean, it just took forever to process all that stuff. Here's an Another one of those Bustamante sculptures. And it's right in front of his art gallery. This building that we're looking at, well, here I'm showing the trinkets, but the building was this amazing ceramics museum where we got a tour, and I did another full video of that museum, which was absolutely spectacular. And we're still not breaking our silence vow. I want this to be just the sound of the streets and what's going on. But at this point of the walk, I'm just itching to turn around to Lars and say, what is happening? It was just crazy. The amount of energy that we absorbed from all these wonderful people doing what they were doing is very, very hard to describe. And we are reaching the end of the walk. We are reaching the end of the passage. There are some giant, well, not giant, but large Tlaquepaque letters on the right. One block further is where the walkway ends. Here's another sculpture of Miguel Hidalgo as he begins his march towards the independence. That's what I got it in my head, that it was called Miguel Hidalgo walkway, but it's called Independencia, and that's why these sculptures are here. And then we're going to approach the letters, symbolic letters for the city, which I screwed up on my first take, but I told you this would be unedited. I wanted to show it to you, so my pan around the letters did not turn out as I wanted it, but here it goes. Da 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 da. And it starts with a T. A ver. Yeah, that's a little wonky. I think I did a better one the second time. And that is pretty much the end of the walk. Oh my God. So at that point, we turned the camera off and we look at each other and we were just like, what happened? What was that? It was just absolutely crazy. I had no idea. We had a conversation about why these things don't get announced ahead of time for tourism's sake. And then we learned that because this is organized by the churches themselves, and the church sometimes creates a big hullabaloo, sometimes not so much. The tourism agency chooses not to mention something because they cannot mention something that they cannot deliver, which makes perfect sense. And all I'm going to say is that we considered ourselves so incredibly fortunate to be there. Now, halfway through your comments, I noticed that somebody mentioned that the dancers use some kind of seeds so that they can create percussive sounds while they're walking. But what I wanted to show you is something that I had never seen before. These shoe-like things that had metal plates on the bottom, and they had these screws. I'm hoping you can see that. Can you see that? Can you see that? Where is it? Oh, Paco, put it in front of the camera. I don't know if it'll come into focus. Sometimes my focus is good. Sometimes my focus is not good. I don't think it's gonna. But this is essentially what I'm showing you is just an ordinary screw and bolt. we found one on the street, and I figured I would bring it along so that I could show it to you. So each one of those dancers, the ones that choose that kind of percussive sound, has this. It looks like a sandal, and it has probably, I would say, like some 20 of these things on the bottom of each foot, and so they made a lot of noise. I mean, it was great. And then something else that does not show up on this video, and we documented later on, was the whiplashers. There were all these dancers. Hold your hand behind the bolt. Is that what I should have done? Uh-huh. There it is. See, I'm getting better at this. Anyhow, the whiplashers, there were these dancers that were whiplashing one another, and some of them were dressed as priests, and some of them were dressed as demons, and some of them were dressed as under-earth monsters, or maybe gorillas. You know, I mean, I chose to interpret them as under-earth monsters. And they kept like whiplashing each other so as to symbolize something that I'm sure has to do with the struggle of Catholicism and good and evil and whatnot. But it was absolutely fun. Absolutely fun. Can I guarantee that this is what you're going to find at Tlaquepaque whenever you go? No. This only happens once a year. But can I guarantee all kinds of wonderful experiences in Tlaquepaque, along with many others that I'm going to show in a members-only broadcast sometime in the near future? Yes. As soon as I finish editing the rest of the videos and some still photographs, we will definitely have a fun, members-only, very comprehensive guide to the historic Tlaquepaque, when to go, how to get there, how to move about, tips and tricks, other places that are not along this Independencia path. But that's coming on, hopefully on the weekend or at the beginning of next week. This week is turning out to be very hectic in the best possible way because we're getting ready for, well, Tony Bennett tonight is good to go, but we're getting ready for our disco music presentation in a couple of days. Now, let's turn back the tape to see what is in your mind. Eric, I want to start with you and apologize that I didn't get in touch with you. I know that Eric was in Guadalajara while we were in Guadalajara, and we did not get a chance to connect, but I sure hope that you had a wonderful time with your mother and your sister, and that they are home safe and sound after their wonderful week with you in Colima. Let's see what we have. Ben, I hope your post-surgery therapy is going well. Deborah, it is so great to see you. My new friend Deborah is a public speaker and a writer and a photographer, and we connected some days ago, and I was very inspired to learn about everything that she does to empower others creatively through photography and storytelling. Let's see. Oh no, well, I hope you get your online restored, Ben. I know how much you rely on your internet, and I hope it comes back sometime soon. Lynn says Boca has water, electricity, and cellular. Our solar is replaced, our tree removed, and our wall and railings will be completed today. Congratulations. I have friends living up the river that have been without electricity since the hurricane a week and a half ago, and I feel so much for them, and I hope that power gets restored soon. Let's see. We said hello to Jose as a newcomer. Welcome. I love this comment, Michal. What a lovely orange oxo. Evan says, Galeria Sergio Bustamante is where I get in trouble financially. Well, here's an interesting thought about Tlaquepaque. Yes, Tlaquepaque has very high-end art and craft that is expensive because of its value. I didn't see places that were overpricing because of tourists, like I see here in Puerto Vallarta. I see things sold in Tlaquepaque that are expensive because of the craftsmanship involved in putting them together. But you also see some very affordable items. And again, we're going to talk about that in our members only broadcast. And even better, Tlaquepaque is large and important enough as an art and craft destination that you see a lot of things from all over Mexico. The type of art and craft that you've never seen in Puerto Vallarta just because it doesn't make it all the way here from, say, Yucatan or Tabasco and whatnot. Let's see what else. There's another queue. Linda was there for 3 days a couple of weeks ago. She said the round pyramids about an hour out of town are a must-see. Absolutely. I forget the name of those ruins right now, but you have to get there by car. Or maybe there is a bus that'll take you there. But yes, I've always wanted to see the round pyramids. Betsy Ann. Hello, my friend. Betsy Ann says, this was one of my first visits from Ajijic 19 years ago. I, too, did some financial damage at Bustamante. I still wear the ring nearly every day. How wonderful. If you're wearing it next time we cross paths, please show it to me. I would be so honored to see it. Let's see what else. Rodo Padilla has some affordable prices. Thankfully, yes, they do. Purum pum pum. My idea of heaven is seeing all the folkloric dancers in person, says Sherry. My idea of heaven is a little kinkier than that, but yes, I love being close to dancers and people that that identify with performing arts. And of course, Lars, you were the most amazing co-pilot one could ever dream of during this weekend. Let's see. Pum 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 pum. Oh, thank you, Christopher. I mean, my work here is about creating connections, and hoping that at least a few of you will treat yourselves to Mexico beyond Puerto Vallarta from time to time. I cannot say it enough, and I know I sound like a broken record when I praised the opportunity of traveling places, and I love to bring back connections for you to consider. Let's see. What has always fascinated me about Guadalajara is that there is never nothing going on. This is absolutely true. Every visit, I've experienced something remarkable through the city. And not only that, Eric, one thing is to go and check out the Guadalajara historic downtown area. Another thing is to stay in Tonalá or Tlaquepaque or Zapopan. I mean, every one of the municipalities that are part of the metropolitan area has enough going on that that you don't need to. It's kind of like going to New York City, or any large city. You can stay in one part of the city and take in that section, and so forth and so on. Heather asks, was that the Virgin of Zapopan event? This is part of the Virgin of Zapopan event. What we learned when we stopped one of the dancers to find out, hey, what are you doing here, is that it starts with a romeria in Zapopan and it continues 2 weeks later here in Tonalá. So now we'll know. Now we'll know for next year when to do it and how it goes on. And Evan gives away something that I'm going to include in the members only broadcast. The third floor of the Tlaquepaque Mercado has a ton of talavera. That would be ceramics. So yes, this is something that we got to see for the first time, and I am going to include it in our members only presentation. The end. Oh my goodness. I feel almost as excited as I felt when we were there just 2 days ago. What an unexpected surprise. And what a pleasure to bring it back to you. Thank you very much again for allowing me to take some time off and to go clear my head and recharge batteries and whatnot. This is it. We're on our way out. Of course, I'm back to this same computer to continue my work for Disco, our presentation in 2 days. If you're around this afternoon and you wish to connect, we're doing Tony Bennett at the Joint Hotel tonight at 5 o'clock. And if not, have an awesome day, and hopefully we will connect sometime in the near future. Take care.